10 years ago, Nepal's banking looked different. For those with a bank account, banking was done almost entirely out of a physical branch. With limited digital adoption, paper based banking and long queues at bank counters were the norm. And then there were many others, unbanked, underserved, and beyond the reach of formal finance. But change was imminent. From traditional banking to a digital revolution, the past decade has seen a complete transformation in Nepal's banking landscape. The partnership between banks and F1 Soft in advancing digital banking has been the major catalyst for this change, with over two-thirds of Nepal's adult population now banking through their mobile phones. With banks entrusting Fonepay as their digital payments partner, Nepal's traditionally cash-heavy market is rapidly evolving into a thriving digital economy. eSeva now has presence in all 753 local bodies in Nepal, enabling people and communities from all corners of the country to take their first steps into digital finance. Phone Loan and its partner banks have revolutionized access to credit in Nepal, empowering individuals and businesses with instant collateral-free loans, making financial support more accessible than ever. And now, thanks to the collaboration between UPI and Fonepay, banking knows no borders. These aren't just facts and figures. They're stories of empowerment, commitment, and progress, and a testament to what is possible when we work together. But this is just the beginning. As banking becomes increasingly digital, customers are no longer just account numbers. From spending habits to saving patterns, banks now have a picture of their customers' financial lives painted by the digital footprints they leave behind. With AI and intelligent banking, banks can transform these data footprints into innovation, predicting needs, personalizing services, and unlocking deeper relationships by offering financial solutions as unique as the customers themselves. And through open banking, we envision a future where banks, fintechs, and consumers are connected in an ecosystem of trust and creativity, generating new opportunities for everyone. At F1 Soft, we believe that banks aren't just service providers. They're the infrastructure that drives prosperity, lifting not just one person, but an entire nation, which is why banks are at the core of everything we do. And as we enter the next frontier of banking, we are more than ready to help you navigate and shape the future of digital finance. Because at F1 Soft, we are already thinking about banking tomorrow and beyond.
Check. Check. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video, right? Being digital. So, digital भनेको हामीलाई के हो त? Like we see in video, right? We go back 10 years, right? For me, a bank is a place, right? जहाँ चाहिँ म जान्छु, and it's a long queue. It used to be that voucher. It used to be that particular pen that is tied up with a string in the counters, right? But now, when I imagine a bank, it's just a tap, right? So we started, as we seen in the video, we started with cash, then we innovate on the SMS banking, then we introduce internet banking, then we built mobile banking solutions, right? And now we are doing payments digitally on our QR codes using mobile banking technologies. So, यति कुरा भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ, are we digital? Is it enough? Let's have a look, right? Let's analyze a situation. So, आजको मार्केटको डिमान्ड के छ? So, what they are expecting from us, right? So, मलाई भोक लाग्यो, if I'm hungry, then what I do? I just open a food delivery app, right? Just a few taps, and meals is on its way, right? So simple, so easy, no wait, no call, right? If I need to go to office, what I do, and I don't have car, so what I do is I simply open ride-hailing app, just a few taps, and I'm on the road, right? It's done. Similarly, if I need something to buy, or if I need to purchase anything, right? So what I do, I just open an e-commerce applications, and just a few taps, it's done. So what we are trying to say is, अहिलेको जुन जेनेरेसनको जुन डिमान्ड छ, the things that we are actually seeking from this banking industry, भनेको चाहिँ, we don't want a long queue. We want everything on instant, right? So, and the major thing is we expect, right? We don't plan, we don't wait, we just expect. We expect that service comes to us, right? We expect that we get a better service, right? So that's the basic fundamental of this generations, right? Rightly said by the Brett King, right? Banking is no longer somewhere you go, it's something you do, right? So, यसैलाई हामीले हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ how we can analyze is the things is changing, right? Now let's take another example. If you see these platforms, whether it be ride-hailing app, or food delivery app, or maybe e-commerce site, or maybe Instagram. So there are millions of users using those platforms and are engaged, actively engaged with those platforms. But is our banking industry ready to embrace those users? Can we really get connected with them, right? So that's the basic question that we should be asking today. So are we welcoming to them? So what are the approaches to get connected with these users, right? For example, एउटा approach would be मेरो mobile banking solutions मा I get everything integrated, सबै service मा integrate गर्छु, and then provide services through that particular platform, right? That can be one approach. But it seems to be impractical, right? It's not my core business. अर्को तरिका के होला त, हैन? Next approach would be मैले मेरो banking services through these other channels provide गर्छु होला customers, म serve गर्छु होला. So that could be another approach, right? So basically हामीले through open banking concept now we should think out of the box, right? Not only through the physical branches or through our own digital platforms. We should be open for banking through other channels as well. That's the right approach to go forward, right? Looking into the data, Rashtra Bankko हाम्रो data हेर्यो भने पनि we are digital. We say we are digital, right? And it's evident from the data itself. हामीले a few years ago, 3-4 वर्षको data हेर्ने भने it's growing rapidly, like it's 2 times, 3 times the transactions are growing, right? So, but still, let's imagine a scenario where I need to purchase a bike, right? What I do, I go to that particular showroom, I select a bike, right? Then the actual process starts. I don't have enough cash, so they ask me to get a loan. And ultimately, I need to go to the bank again, right? The bank I trust, I prefer. म त्यो ब्याङ्कमा जान्छु, अनि they welcome me, but at the same time, they provide me with a checklist, right? The checklist of the documents. So one of the reasons it's become tedious for me is like my data is scattered across accounts, scattered across banks, scattered across systems, right? So I need to go to all these banks, collect those documents, collect those details, then again come back to that particular bank, and then based on those documents, they just approve my loan, right? So that's the existing process that we have. Looking into this thing, for a customer, it's a very painful journey. For me, it was a simple decision, but it has become a cumbersome process, right? And because the data is scattered all around the systems, I cannot have an overview of that particular things. Similarly, it's a hassle and it's very frustrating for me. At the same time, if you flip the coin and see from the bank's perspective, the document that I presented to you, can you really verify whether it's a valid document or not? Right? It's difficult. Also, because it's a paper-heavy work, it will be obviously a slow process. Also, I will submit you the documents which is required by yourself, right? So I might have multiple digital footprints, but because of the limitation, I may not be able to present you those data by which you could have taken a very informed decisions, right? So let's reimagine the whole scenario. I'll reimagine the same scenario where I go to the showroom, I select the bike, and now the different process will start, right? So now the process would look like they will provide me with an app. I just log into that particular application, I put in some informations. It will actually explore or get the sources of the digital footprints of mine, face all the data, analyze it, aggregate it, and give me a meaningful information in the form of a lending option. So I just select that particular lending option, and the loan is approved, thanks to digital lending platform as well, right? So, and I do some down payments, I just get out of the shop. That's easy it is, right? So, आजको दिनमा यही कुरा हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो possible छ त, right? आजको कन्टेक्स्टमा हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ maybe it's a bit difficult, right? हामी सोच्दा पनि it's a futuristic. So, but it is very much possible, and the possibility is account aggregator. So we are introducing account aggregator for the first time in Nepal. So account aggregator भनेको के हो? It's nothing but it's a consent management platform, right? What it does, it just bridges a gap between the source of information with the destination of informations, right? So and we can have a meaningful data out of these informations, which we can do for the betterment of our lives, for the betterment of digital lending, right? So we can do multiple stuff. So let's deep dive into the architecture of account aggregator. So there are basically three actors in this architecture. So first would be financial information provider, we generally call it FIPs, which are basically the data providers, right? So any entities that holds my digital footprints can be a data provider or FIPs, right? On the other hand, we have FIUs, financial information users. These are the entities, or maybe an individual, it may be a small businesses or big business houses. So anybody that leverages that particular data into a meaningful actions and meaningful value, right? So these are basically the FIUs. So it could be banks, it could be digital lending platform, it could be personal financial management platform. So anybody who can actually innovate based on this information can be one of the digital financial information user, right? And at its core, we have account aggregator. As I said, account aggregator is nothing but just a consent management system, right? What it does manage my consent, nothing else, right? So how the flow will look like is, so FIUs will seek for an information, and it will send a request to account aggregator platform. Of course, these data, it should have, in order to provide that particular data, it should have my consent, the user consent, right? So it will ask for my consent through its client applications. मैले त्यो client application गएर चाहिँ e-consent दिन्छु. Once the consent is done, then it will go and request data from the data provider. And in return, of course, like the data provider will give me the details that we seek for. So details, account aggregation, जब consent को आउँदा फेरि चाहिँ, so there can be multiple parameters like frequency of data, expiry of data. So there are all sort of information out there. The one thing that we need to understand is account aggregator is data blind. So if I say, what do we mean by data blind? So it has no visibility on the data passed from that FIPs to FIUs. So all the data are encrypted and can only be decrypted by the FIU. So it will not have any visibility on the data in between, right? So we also introduced to a blockchain technology which can actually manage the consent, right? So we thought, like, it's a beautiful architecture, but something was missing, right? Though our data is like scattered among the system, but the consent management is done on the centralized system, right? So that's why we thought of introducing blockchain technology so that the issue with the centralized system is that if we actually manipulate any of the data in the central system, though we don't do it, but if we do, then nobody will have any clues, right? So what has been changed? So that's where the blockchain technology come into pictures, and we leverage our own private blockchain technology, so where we can have a tamper-proof and real-time data, right? So there are two core basic features of blockchain technology that makes it suitable for this account aggregator platform it's immutable and verifiable. When I say immutable, that once the recording is done, I can't alter, modify, change, delete, so I can't do anything with that particular data, right? When I say verifiable, it's all, I can actually independently verify the data. So I can backtrack the data even if there's a change, I can backtrack the data and validate that particular data. So how does it work in this particular ecosystem? So it's basically a chain of blocks. And one of the best part of it, like the data will not only stored in the account aggregator platform, but it also will be replicated among other participants, with maybe the data provider in the form of banks, which may be a regulator, right, in that case. So as a जति पनि मैले यति बेलासम्म चाहिँ I am talking about the banking industry, right? The applications of account aggregator in terms of banking industry. But let me tell you, like, this is not industry dependent, or it's a industry agnostic, right? So when I say agnostics, I can replicate this model or this architecture in any of the sectors, right? Whether it be education sector, whether it be a healthcare sector, so I can actually replicate it anywhere. So it's not just for banking industry. So as a Fonepay, our core purpose is that we always strive towards making a solution that will touch everybody's life, right? And we need to make some solution that will actually co-create new businesses. We believe in making those solutions which will actually help us to grow economically and individually as well, right? So that's our key thrust when we build any of the architecture. So that's how we came with the account aggregator architecture in place, and we want to serve everyone, and we want everybody to take benefit of this system. So finally, concluding my presentation, here's the truth that your user doesn't care about your system, right? What they care about is the simplicity. What they care about is the trust. What they care about is the speed, right? So account aggregator is not just a feature, it's a foundation. It's a foundation for the next generation finance. And we have the tools, we have the vision, right? We are actually envisioning a world where data doesn't sit in silos, where banks don't guess, they know, right? So where the trust is built into the system, right? So that's the world that we're actually envisioning. So finally, I would like you all to be part of this ecosystem. Let's join hands for the betterment of everybody's life, right? So that we can grow our economy, we can have our individual prosperous, right? So let's be on the same path. Let's not just be digital, let's be truly and brilliantly interconnected. So by this, I end up my presentation. I also would like to request you to please visit our experience center where you can actually have a hands-on on how the system will look like, what are the use cases of this system, and how does it work. So please do visit our experience zones. Thank you very much.
Nepal is embracing a digital revolution. Technology is not just changing how we pay, but how we connect, work, and thrive in this fast evolving world. But managing finance has become complicated. Delayed loan and multiple bank accounts remains a challenge for both banks and their customers. What if there was a better way? Introducing Account Aggregator, a secure and seamless way to manage financial data with your consent. For customers, it means instant eKYC verification, real-time tracking, and faster loan approvals. A single place to manage finances. For bank, it means better risk assessment, secure data sharing, efficiency in loan processing, increased customer engagement and retention, cost savings, and new revenue opportunities. Powered by blockchain, this platform ensures tamper-proof transactions, real-time data integrity, and end-to-end encryption, giving you and your customers the highest level of trust and security, as this can only be accessed with your customer's consent. Account Aggregator, nothing more, nothing less.